I have stuff to do this afternoon. General questions. All right. Today is Tuesday, November 6, 2012, and this is our first ever sort of open forum for people to ask us questions. Of course, partners will have priority. Questions that partners ask will have priority, but almost everyone that's in here right now is a partner anyway. Almost. I know one thing that people often ask about is the slingshot. Yeah, there you go. I knew that was coming. Is the slingshot. So let's look at it in pieces, okay? Let me take this silly thing off. There you go. We'll just remove it. All right. Now, when you apply the slingshot, hang on, I'm going to write things down as they pop into my head, because I know I have other things that people want me to cover too. Now with the slingshot, your slingshot did not come up on your chart. Okay, I bet it did, but you know what it is. Everything comes up as false. When you go to indicators and you go to imported slingshot, create new area, you see in here by default it says it's, well, mine say true, but yours are all going to be false like this by default. So I'll set mine up the way that yours shows up. Okay. So you go to apply the slingshot and you hit create new area, and if you don't set anything to true by default, if it's the first time you ever set it up, this is what it's going to look like. Okay? It's going to look just like this. This is called the bias line. I won't get too much into the bias line right now, but what I will tell you is that you need to change the properties in here. Now, there's a bunch of properties, but going over it in just a little tiny bit more detail, I'm going to show you what you're actually looking at here. Okay? This right here, S1, S2, and S3 are 3 different speeds of the combo indicator. Now the combo indicator is something else that's also available to you. Now in each one of these there's a thing called the cycle. The cycle is something that's also available to you. Okay? When you set this up the first time, if you just want to have the cycle that I have on, it's this one right here, the S3 cycle on. Set that to true. You see? That's the S3 cycle. And the green line is the S1 fast. So set that to true. That's it right there. Okay? That is it right there. Oops. Now, let me show you the other indicators that those are derived from, okay? Let me do the combo first. Do create new area. That is the CF combo. Okay, you probably can't see the lines all that well right there, but I'm trying. There we go, properties. I'll make them a little thicker. See, I made it a lot more user-friendly in the slingshot. Okay. That's the combo. Now you see this here, the cycle portion of it. It's pretty much the same. Not exactly the same, but pretty much the same. Now, if we go one more step and we put the CF cycle on there, create new area, bang, there's the cycle. Now this cycle down here is the same as this one. Okay? You see that? So the slingshot itself is derived from a bunch of different things that we already had. For the folks that are in here who are fairly new, what we used to do is we'd overlay these things, and so you'd have like 10 different indicators overlaid on top of each other, and now all of them at various speeds performing various functions, and it got really cumbersome and difficult. So what I did is I created an indicator that had all that stuff in it. Okay, that is the Slingshot. Let me see. Now, let me show you what this other stuff is in the Slingshot, okay? Now, if we were to have the Slingshot just be exactly like the combo indicator, you would set that to true, that to true, and the cycle portion to true. All right. You guys remember what that other combo looked like? The brown line was white on the other combo, but it looked just like this. Okay. Now, if we look at this again, the parameters in here for the Slingshot, this is the S3 parameter set. That's the combo. The S3 is the combo the way that it normally is. All right. If you were just going to have the S3 on, you could just have the combo indicator on. But if you wanted to have portions of a different combo indicator at various speeds overlaid on top of portions of the S3 combo indicator, which we found to be very, very useful, then you would have to overlay them on top of each other, okay, which became cumbersome. So I created the Slingshot. With the Slingshot, you have 3 different combo indicators in here. They're all different speeds. The question is, what's the difference between S1, S2, and S3? If you set the S1 speed to 10 and the S2 speed to 10, and you turn them all to true, they would overlay each other. They would be right on top of each other. Okay, the difference is the speed. The S1 number, the S2 number, and the S3 number. That's the difference. The S1 is 5 times as fast as the S3. The S2 is twice as fast as the S3. Okay? That's the difference. So when we want something really reactive to price, and we want to continue seeing the longer term trend, well then we're going to take the fastest of the fast combo, okay, which is the green line on the S1 combo. You could make it even faster and set that to 1. Nope, the S3 is set to 10. You could make it faster and set that to 1, but you know, the smaller the number, the faster it is. Not the higher the number, the smaller the number. Okay, so it does have a maximum speed. You can't have decimal points in here. Or negative numbers. I think you probably could have negative numbers. I don't know, it might choke on it, but I don't remember if I coded it to use absolute value. But anyway, to overlay the fastest of the fast on top of the slowest of the slowest of the slow over here would be the cycle. And I'm giving you a tutorial right now. and the fastest of the fast would be the green line up here on the S1, on whatever the fastest thing is. Now we can change this. I mean, you know, like right now, if I set the green line to true, it's going to show up down there. Right? There's the green line. Now if I set it to 1, it's going to be a little faster. See? A little squigglier. If I set it to 10, it's going to overwrite the other one. See? It's right on top of this green line. If I set it to 9, it'll be just a little slower than that one. See? All right, that's the slingshot. That's how you put it all together. That's what you want to look at. That's all you do. Now, the way that I set it, when I do this, I set only the S3 cycle to true and the S1 fast on to true. Okay, those are the two things that I look at on the slingshot. All right. Now the bias line. The bias line involves some other things based on price action. I'm not really wanting to get into it right now, but basically when it's green, it's good, and when it's red, when it's green, longer term stuff, bullish, and when it's red, longer term stuff, bearish. Okay. That is the slingshot. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about that you haven't already asked? I think I've answered all the questions so far. Yeah, there's a lot there to comprehend. I'm recording this, so I'll get this thing out there and I'll get you all a link to it. Everybody that's in here, I'll send you a link to this recording once it's converted, okay? So you can slow down and watch it at your own pace at a later time. Okay? I know I went over a lot of stuff right there, and I think I did it kind of slow, but there's a lot to go over. There's no way to feed that to you a little bit at a time. The thing that I like to, when I look at something that's complicated like this, or that could be complicated, that has the ability to be complicated, the easiest way for me to interpret it is to break it into pieces. So and I'm covering up the bottom with a piece of paper right here. If you were to just, and I'll do it for you here. If you were, let me hang on a second. I'll bring something else over here that I can cover it up with. Oops, hold on. There. Oh, it won't let me. It's not modal. Okay, well then I'll do it this way. If you were to just look at this much of it, just the S1 cycle from here down. And then when you're ready to look at the S2, just look at the S2 portion of it. Okay? And the S3 portion of it. That is how I would look at it to break it into pieces. I use two different speeds to get this. Okay? Now, what this is telling me is, let me back it up. What this is telling me, that looks actually pretty choppy for the NQ. This one, yeah, that's set to true. Okay. What this is telling me is right here, the longer term is up. Okay? In this time frame that I'm working in, the longer term is up. When the green starts to go against it, it's telling me that the longer term is up, but there's just a fast pullback against the longer term. Price is looking for an area of support. Okay? Now it's going to find that support somewhere, or it's going to turn around and stop looking for support and then start looking for resistance. So what you're looking for is for it to pull down and find some area of support. Now we have many different things that you could use for your areas of support. You can use the yellow line by itself. You could use the BBC by itself. You could use the MA1 by itself. You could use the whole bunch of them all together. You can use just the support and resistance, the dynamic support and resistance. You can use whatever you want. It's much more than that, Frank. It's much more than that. It looks like it though. From a visual perspective, it looks like basically the same thing. Okay, but that's not the kind of math that's built into it. Well, it's not only that anyway. There is some of that, various speeds of it, but there's a bunch of other things too. Okay. Now, Kentucky and South Carolina banned. Yes, the cycle line shows the longer direction, is what it shows. Okay. So let's do something else here. No, it's not only good on the 4-tick. You can use it on anything you want, Nicole. Now for giggles here, let me just take that off. I'll take that off. I'll take that off and that off. Okay. Now we're on a 4-tick range. Well, all indicators are based on prior data. The only thing that's even remotely forward leaning is price action. Okay? All indicators are based on prior data. If somebody says they got an indicator that's based on something in the future, well, you have to make up your own mind about that. You can't write, you can't code on imaginary futuristic things. You can use imaginary numbers, but that's not what this is all built around. That's a whole different thing, imaginary numbers. I don't need to get too deep into the math of it, but sorry, little tangent. Price action is the only thing that's really going to give you a good idea of what to anticipate in the future. All right. Now you see me drawing trend lines all the time, right? Don't you? Trend lines. You know, as soon as I look at something, I see trend lines. As soon as I look at it. Now you might be wondering, what makes me want to draw these trend lines? What makes me identify certain points from these trend lines? And that's valid. What I'm looking at when I'm looking at a trend line, typically during the day, let me take off the MA1 and put on the BBC. What I'm looking for when I draw a trend line, typically, is the slope of the bars that approach the BBC. Okay? Since that's what we're using as our support and resistance area, our buy spot or sell spot. I'm sorry. Yeah. Depending what direction we're going to trade. I'm looking at the bars that are approaching the BBC. So if price is pulled away from the BBC, like this right here, all right, you got this big pull away from the BBC. Now, in this particular case, it had to start up here, right? So I would have drawn a trend line from the top, back here. I would have drawn a trend line down those bars like that, okay? And I'd be saying something like, if we get a close above that trend line, it should open the door to higher prices. If we get a close above that, and I'll say that again and again and again. If we get a close above that trend line, it should open the door to higher prices. Now that's valid until we go through the BBC, okay? It's still valid. Even after the BBC, it's still valid. I mean, it's a trend line, and trend lines are valid all the time. That one actually needs a little adjusting. Hang on. Trying to drag the top down. There we go. But once you go through the BBC, well, then it's dropping down, and as it approaches the BBC from the other side, well, then I'm going to draw another trend line, this time from the other side, up the bottoms as you approach the BBC. Now, what do you think I'm going to say on this one? Once we close below that trend line, we get a down close below that trend line, we should see lower prices. All right. In this particular case, it got a little bit lower. I mean, it is election day, and it got really choppy in there. But typically, what you would look for is just right back here. Okay, well, let's start at the beginning of the day. Here's 9:30. All right. Our first trend line, since we're below the BBC, right here at 9:30, our first trend line is right here. Our first opportunity to trade was right here at the BBC. Okay? When it closes below the BBC, you should be anticipating lower prices. Now, what does this have to do with the slingshot? Come on, mouse. Well, if you look at this down here, when you're at the BBC and you're anticipating lower prices, down here you have divergence and you're anticipating that the green line is going to work its way down into the cycle. So a close below over here, it's looking for support resistance over here. You get your close below right here, and right over here is where the right here, okay, is where the green line hits the cycle. Okay? That's what you're looking for all day long. That's what you're looking for. On this pullback right here, there's your trend line. There's the close below it. You're expecting it to get over here. You don't have any divergence to help you out with this one. Okay, so the slingshot's not giving you anything for assistance here. I wouldn't take this trade here because you don't have any divergence. That's right, Frank. The green line moves into the cycle because when it moved away from it, it was a short-term correction in price. Now those little corrections in price are your opportunities. All right, when price starts to correct or starts to stray from the norm, those are your opportunities. Those little pieces like this right here. That one, that one, that one. This one, this one, this one. Even this one right here, if I put the brown line on, I'll show you that one right there is also an opportunity for you. Okay? Every time it strays from the norm, that's an opportunity for you because you can expect, in most cases, that it's going to go back to the norm. Negative or positive divergence. When I'm saying that, if the cycle is bullish and the green line is moving away from it, that means we're looking at a bullish market and the green line is diverging from the bullish market. So that is bullish divergence. Okay? Does that make sense? When we're looking, in this case right here, where the cycle is bullish, we have a bullish market. And as soon as that green line starts to move away from it, we have divergence between the lines, but it's bullish divergence because the cycle is bullish. All right? Because the cycle is the longer term, that's the type of divergence that it is. You know, right over here, the cycle was going down, and it was bearish. So we had bearish divergence. Right here. Right, you're expecting the green to get pulled back to the cycle. That's what you're anticipating. If the cycle starts to go against you, like this right here, then you're expecting them to meet somewhere, but you're not anticipating that the trade is going to stop at the resistance area where it normally would. Okay? That's why with the NQ, you'll hear me say, no, I'm not taking that trade because the cycle's moving against us. You'll hear me say that again and again and again. Okay? All right. I just talked for 29 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Where would you enter before the orange line exactly? Okay, that's fair. The orange line is your exit. Okay? Your entry would be right here. Let me blow it up. Now let me find it. There it is. your entry is right there. Okay? And on the next one, the cycle was headed up right here. Okay? So you're still anticipating that cycle and the green line are going to meet, but now you're not anticipating that the green line is going to correct all the way down to the cycle because the cycle's heading up. So they eventually meet, but it's corrected. This time it's gone the opposite way. So right here, I don't have the MA1 on here, but I can tell you right now that price has moved up and we have divergence. So when it pulls back down here right now, you have bullish divergence right here. Okay? On this bar, on that red bar that hits the BBC right there. The cycle is running up and it's blue. So the divergence is bullish. Okay? The green line is diverging. That gives you the divergence. The green line is moving away from the cycle, diverging from it. That gives you the divergence. And because the cycle is blue and headed up and overbought in this case, that gives you bullish divergence. Okay? So what you're waiting for at that point is for price to hit the BBC and then change directions so that the green line can work its way back up into the cycle. All right? Right there. And right there. Oops, you know what? That's what you're looking at right there. Okay? What is immediately following the orange line? Immediately following the orange line. Well, there's nothing right here. But what you have is a trend line. Right there, as price pulled back up to the BBC, you have a trend line, and you have a decision to make when you take this trade. Now, I hadn't drawn the trend line over here, but I will for you. I'm trying to put all the pieces together for you, little by little here. This is the trend line right over here. Okay. Now your entry is the up close right here with the bullish divergence. That's your entry. All right. This trend line right here, once you break this trend line, that opens the door to the higher prices. What you should see when that trend line is broken is a move to at least the prior swing, which is right here. Okay? You should see a move at least to this level. Okay? And this is a 4-tick range chart. It's the same exact thing on all the 4-tick range charts. The same indicators, the same everything on all the 4-tick range charts. All right. Yeah, if you look at it without all the other stuff on it, then things jump right out at you. You know, Frank was saying he's seeing the trend lines just looking at the candles. Don't you guys see them? I mean, you can just eyeball them, and before you know it, you'll be eyeballing Fibonacci levels too. That's that's what Dwayne and I do. Like from this move to this move, pulled back to this move, that's between 50 and 62%. Right here to here, back to here. 50% would be right about here, I think. That's a 50% Fibonacci retracement of this move. What you would anticipate for 100% move would be a move the size of this from the low on this one. Let me make this a... sorry, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I think this will be good for you too. That's the distance of the move up. Okay. Now, Fibonacci Extension says that after you get a move this size up, you're going to get some sort of a retracement. All right. And this is between 50 and 62% right here. I think 68%. And what you're anticipating at this point is you're going to get another move the same size, roughly, as the prior move. Okay, roughly the same size as the prior move. Let me drag that over here. I wasn't shrinking it, I was just dragging it, trying to drag the top down. But roughly the same size. Okay, that's Fibonacci extension. Now, if I were to just insert the Fibonacci retracements, first we could do this, and you can see that this is between, I said right here is between 50 and 62%. It is. I said 50% was about right here, and it was. If you do a Fibonacci extension, let me do that. Fibonacci, where the heck is that thing? Price extension. I'm not even sure how to do this. Okay, you choose 2 points, and then you drag this up like that. There. I think that's how you do it. I don't know. I don't know how to put the Fibonacci extensions on there. But anyway, I know that that's what to anticipate. All right, and I try to help you guys along with that when we're trading live and all that. I try to identify the trend lines for you as much as I can. You know, I mean, when you're just looking at this right now, if I take off these things, if I remove that, and I remove that, you can just look at this now, can't you, and see where the trend lines would be? Like on this one right here, you would go from the bottom right here as it approaches the BBC. That's what you're looking for. Where's the trend line on that? Well, it's straight up these bottoms. Okay. Now, we didn't put in a lower swing. After we closed down below this trend line, we didn't put in a lower swing, so we didn't continue the trend. Not on purpose, Frank. But right here, we didn't continue the trend, so we're anticipating. So we're anticipating right here that it's going to continue going up. Okay. What gets you is when you wait for the test of the BBC and it goes through it, and now you're in a trade that's going against you. Okay, well, you're not selling the BBC, you're selling the close after the BBC. If you're trading the ES or the YM, yeah, you're selling the BBC on those. You don't see me placing as many trades over there as you do on the 4-tick range charts. Partly because there's not as many trades over there, but also partly because I like to have that confirmation of the close in the right direction. Okay? Does that make sense? You know, there's a lot of things that we can go through in the live trading room, but the goal is to make it as simple as possible for everyone. I mean, I know we have a lot of markets, but we're doing the same thing. On all the 4-tick range charts, we're doing the same exact thing. You know, this is the NQ, but if I drag one of the other markets over, here's the Russell. Okay, here's the Russell from today. And if I take all the stuff off of this, and we leave just the same things on that we got on that other one, that's it, right? And we leave just the same things on. Can you guys see the trend lines? Did they jump right out at you off the Russell? And if you had those trend lines, and you have the divergence that you can use down here to let you know that you're entering in pretty much the right place. You know that when you're waiting for a pullback, there's only so far it's going to pull back. So if it's pulling back to the BBC right here, and you have your trend line drawn mentally or even physically like that, and when it pulls back, it's all the way down here, oversold. The chances of it going further down beyond the oversold right here are pretty slim. You know, if you get the up close on that, well, then it's lost momentum in the direction of the pullback. And if you have an up close, it's starting to put the momentum in the direction of the longer term trend. Okay? Andrew, I try to only trade in the direction of the trend. Okay? There are counter trend trades that you can do based on things like the weekly trading zones and stuff like that. But I try to do everything in the live trading room anyway. I try to do everything with the trend. Okay. Am I looking at you? I'm seeing them. I'm seeing all your comments. I think I could stick your comments up here, but you guys can't see them. You guys can't see the comments right in front, right? If I do audience view right now, you don't see the comment box because I have it right in the middle of the screen. But I usually have it over on another monitor, so I can watch it on another monitor and see what everybody's saying or doing or feeling. Now, yes. Okay, that you may think that's a simple question, but we'll do that. All right, to add the drawing tools toolbar, and that's what this thing is for, guys. If you guys have questions like that, ask them now. To add the drawing tools toolbar, let me figure that out. Hold on. You go to toolbars, check the drawing tools. Okay, if I uncheck mine, it goes away. See? Now if I go to view, toolbars, drawing tools, it stuck it over here on the side again. Something else about the toolbars that I don't know if you guys can see it in here, but right here on the side of the toolbars and on top, there's 3 little dots. You see that? 3 little dots. If you hover over those little dots, you can grab your toolbars and move them around. Okay? If you want to relocate your toolbar, that's how you do it. You grab it like that, and you can move it around. Okay? I like having them the way I have them, but that's how you do that. Oops. I don't like that one being on the top like that. Okay? That's, well, Nicole, that's part of it. The question or the statement was, so the easiest thing to do is to just wait for the green line to be at the extreme up or down and enter the trade in the opposite direction. That's part of it. Okay? It's not the whole thing, because I like to wait until you got some sort of confirmation that it's going to go in the opposite direction, which would be the down close or the up close or whatever the case is. Okay, just looking at this right here, I know this is in hindsight, but you guys know during the day I circle these things in real time. When you see the thing approaching the BBC here, and you see all this divergence down here, meaning the green line is moving away from the cycle is red and headed down, the market is just pulling back. It's just doing a quick pullback almost all the time, especially if it's the first one. Almost all the time, it's just doing a quick pullback, and you just need to get in, not so much when the green line starts to turn down, but when price starts to turn down. Okay? Because oftentimes if you wait for this green line to turn down, well, heck, you're going to be getting in way down here. When that's where your target's going to be. You want to get in up here and take profit down here or down here, right? So it's not so much waiting for the green line to turn down, though you can do that. I'm not saying you can't. It's waiting for price to go in the direction you want it to go. Okay, Michael, did you see how to add and remove the toolbars? I'll show you one more thing about the toolbar. Okay. Drawing toolbars isn't listed under toolbars. View. If you go to view toolbars, you don't have drawing tools. Are you doing it on a standalone chart like this one? Or are you doing it on, something like this? Actually, it doesn't seem to matter. The drawing toolbar is over there on that one too. You know what? You know what, Michael? I'll just send you my I'll send you my layout. Okay? I'll just send you my layout, and then you'll have it set up just like I have it. Okay? I'll send it to you right now. Okay. I just sent it to you. Let's see. Can I show how to place orders, and when you have an order in, how to put a stop and take profit with OCO? How to set up a bracket, you mean? Yep, I can show you that. Give me just a moment. Let me get one of my DOMs over here. That's an option chain. Here, I'll use this one. This is the Euro DOM. I'll use this one because it's not trading very actively right now. Now, to place a bracket around your trade, you click on this little thing right here. Looks like a molecule. Okay, click on that, and you'll have these options down here. All right. If you check buy bracket and sell bracket, it's automatically going to check a sell stop and a sell limit, and a buy stop and a buy limit. Your buy stop is your risk on the trade. I'm sorry, your sell stop is your risk on the trade when you're going long. Your buy stop is your risk on the trade when you're going short. This would be your profit target, and this would be your profit target. All right. Now, on a lot of the things that I do, I don't have profit targets. I just have stops. So I take the profit targets off like that, and I just have stops. Okay. Now, when you put an order on, you see, as I scroll up and down in the bid column over here, on the right-hand side on the ask column, you see that little orange thing that bounces up and down over there? That's where my stop's going to go. All right. If I stick an order on right here, see, there's my stop right there. And the +1 means it's market. Okay. You see that? Now, if I have a target on here, like this, then, I place an order there, it puts my stop and my target. All right. If you loaded my template, then it may was saying. Sorry, I was reading something. I was reading one of the comments. But you'll have it up here. You see. That's how you put the bracket around it. Okay. If you used, what I was saying is if you used mine, then I may not have had the target in there. That's probably what. And Michael, you checked both the tab chart and a standalone. I sent you my layout, so if you load my layout, watch the little video, or I can just show you how to load the layout. Hold on a minute. Let me bring this over here. When you're loading a layout, let's see. Here we go. When you're loading a layout, you go to File, Import Settings, and find the layout. All right. The one that I created today was, I don't know where it is. It's not in this folder, apparently. Oh, here it is. 11/6/2012. You just click on that and hit open, and it'll load the layout the way that I have it all set up. Okay, so you go to File, Import Settings, and it's File on this thing. Okay. Let's see. Okay. It depends, Nicole. What I typically do, the question was, in my trade management, do I wait for +8 ticks and move stop to break even +1? Typically, what I would do is with the MA1 on the chart, once price gets on the other side of the MA1, I'll take my risk off. Or if it's the ES and it closes the window of opportunity, that's the space between the BBC and the MA1, I would take my risk off. Okay. Andrew, Renko charts are not available through DT Pro. Renko charts are the same as range charts, except they don't have a wick. Okay, that's the difference. NQ. Yeah, Howard, you have something mixed up with your charts, I'm sure of it. You have the CFTC on it, or you used to have the CFTC on it, and I don't know if you still do. So we need to take a look at that, okay? I know you had added a whole bunch of things to your charts. That one meeting that we had a while back, we set it up so it had just the minimum on it. And okay. All right. Well, we'll have to take a look at it anyway. And it should be pretty close to the same. The sensitivity should be exactly the same. I mean, it's a 4-tick range chart. Range is a range. Okay. So we should get together and take a look at that. Or just send me a screenshot of it. Send me a picture of it. Okay. And view. What the heck? I know there's a way to do that in here. File. I know there's a way to do that in here. I just don't remember what it is. Oh well. Anyway, I won't bother with it right now. Okay. Howard, I know there was another thing that you wanted to see, and I will show you right now. In the report section, I'm going to change this to another account here, I think. Let's see, reports, orders, yeah, here. Let me change this to a different account. Anyway, I think I changed it. Why do I use 4-tick charts on some ES 10,000 contract? I'll tell you that in a minute. To view a report, you go to reports, go to orders, and you can go to something like daily fills if you want. That is going to bring up a window like this one. Okay. Over here in the account field, if you're in demo and you have Forex, it may default. Now listen to this. This is Howard, this is something that you would ask me about, reports, I think. So I'm doing this mostly because you would ask me. Over here in the account field, right in here, you have to choose whatever account it is that you're trading in. Okay? Now you can see I have a few accounts right there. You choose an account, and then if it's Forex, it might default to Forex. Okay? You want to change it to whatever account you want to look at and get a report from. Put your begin date in, your end date in, and you can view it in PDF, Excel, or just view it right in here. The report thing does work, and I checked, it does work in demo as well. You just have to make sure you're looking at the right account. Okay? All right. You have the YBR, the MA1, the BBC only in the top chart, plus the SR. Okay. The color change of the bars is based on up closes and down closes. It's not based on any software that's created. It's just up closes and down closes. So they have to be the same unless you have something else going on. Okay. Yes, why do I use 4-tick range charts on some and 10,000 contracts on the ES? All right, the 10,000 contract I use on the ES because the ES has so much more volume. That, and we've been using the 10,000 contract on the ES for years. You don't have to use it. I mean, I have a 4-tick range ES going too. I'll show you that in just a second if I can find it. Here it is. Oops. Hang on. Here is the 4-tick range. Yes, you'll have a live account too, Howard. You'll have both, depending on the account size and stuff like that. You'll have both. Okay. Daniels does have extensive demos and tutorials on the report stuff. Yes, they do. Bill, you can run the report for all. You can run the report for all. If you do that, it'll cover all your accounts, and then you just have to choose the right dates. Okay. It'll do it for all instruments. By default, it'll do it for all instruments, but you have to make sure you're choosing the right account. In the upper left-hand corner, make sure you're choosing the right account. Okay? And it will run it. Okay. Now, when you go to reports, you go to orders. Say you go to daily fills. Over here in the top left-hand corner, make sure you're choosing the right account. All right. By default, it probably goes to Forex, and you're not trading Forex. Right. Or by default, it might go to something else. Make sure you're choosing the right account. Okay. That's important. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, you can get back to me on that. It's 3:59. We've gone through that whole hour already. Was it useful to you guys? An hour just flies by. Did anybody have any questions? I mean, I covered a lot of stuff, but I feel like I didn't cover all that much. An hour flew by. I mean, I covered the Slingshot pretty deep. You know, I didn't, like Andrew, you just asked me about the 10,000 contract on the ES versus, you know, the 4-tick range on everything else. You can do the 4-tick range on the ES. This is the 4-tick range on the ES. You can do that on the ES too. You'd probably have a lot better results than using the 10,000 contract. You'd certainly have more trades. Okay. And you know, you can do it any market. That was the goal with all this stuff, was to make it so that you could trade the same exact indicator set using the same setups on any market whatsoever. Hey Bert, is that you?
Hey,
It was 3 o'clock my time, not your time.
No.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're just ending. We're just wrapping it up. You were right on time though for 3 o'clock your time.
Oh, gee, I'm thinking, are you serious?
That's all right.
I don't feel like a jerk.
That's all right.
Oh, you did Eastern.
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions for Bert? I just went over one of the things here. Let me make you an organizer, so you can come in and see. I think I've answered all the questions, but one of the things that I just went over was the reports. They do work in demo. They work in the live environment and the demo environment. Bill said he's having trouble viewing his in the demo environment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I showed how to do it. The one thing that might happen when you come in whatever environment it is, the one thing that might happen is, you know, you go to reports and you go orders, daily fills, and it brings up this thing.
Right.
The account over here, if you have a Forex account, or
Right.
you know, it might default to the wrong account. So
That does happen. That's a common theme.
And that will give you no records. If it's on the wrong account, that will give you no records. Okay? So it's important that you make sure you pick the right account over there. Okay? That is a thing. Is this a somewhat modified method of trading, perhaps following MA1 color change? Reason is that using offer results. Well, if the market's really choppy, I try not to trade. I mean, I know that doesn't really help you, but I really try to stay out of the market if it's choppy. And I identify choppy by trend lines, using just trend lines. You know, if I can see, like right here, it is choppy. I can see a triangle right here. I see trend lines going up the bottoms and down the tops. So price is going back and forth in a decreasing range right here. Now it started over here. Actually, it started back here. And this moved down. It stopped here. It didn't make a higher high. It didn't make a lower low. It didn't make a higher high. It didn't make a lower low. It didn't make a higher high. It's not making a lower low. That is chop.
In the BBC is flat. That's another thing. You get some chop in the market, Howard. Start looking more at reactions against the YBR, the yellow brick road.
Yep.
Expand your support and resistance levels. That's one way to do it too.
I usually draw trend lines across the tops and the bottoms to show the range of the chop, and you know that's usually how I determine when I'm going to start trading again, and when I'm waiting. Like right here, I would wait for it to get down below this level right here, or above this level right here, above the weekly trading zone, or below this level here. You know, right now there's no sense trading right now. It's 404, but yeah, Andrew, that's we talked about that afterward today, and that happens a lot. You know, when the European markets close, that's when we close the morning room. The European markets close at the same time, and I would venture to say that more often than not, the market's really going to have a big move right at that point.
Yeah, there'll be some reaction around that time, but usually it settles down until the afternoon. Today just had to be be an eventful day because of elections, so that could have been an aberration.
Yes. Hey, you know what? I recorded this whole thing, Bert, so we can.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. No, it's good.
Stop the recording?
No. I was just telling you so that you can distribute it if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Once I convert it and load it and do all that kind of stuff, I'll give you a link. Let's see. I stated that I'm generally only taking trades with the trend. How am I defining the trend in this context? Right now, there is no trend. It's going sideways. The longer-term trend is down. You could draw a trend line. This one right here that I drew earlier. Let's see. We can move that now like this. Okay. So the longer-term trend is down using price action. The longer-term trend is mixed using the slingshot. Using longer-term price action, it's down. Using just the current short-term price action right here, we're in chop and we have no trend. I would wait to see it get up above the weekly trading zone or down below this level right here. All right, this level right there. Okay.
Mike, that's why you wait for, dependent on the time frame. That's why you're waiting for new pivot highs and pivot lows, right?
That's why I'm waiting for higher swings, one way or the other. I'm looking for higher lows. Higher highs or lower lows. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Yes, that's exactly right, Frank. The comment was it might be interpreted that you were trading legs or the trend on the leg. I am waiting. The market. I wish I could just draw. Let me hang on a second. I'm going to bring up Microsoft Paint if I can find it. Give me just a second because I can draw that thing. If I can find the darn thing. Adobe. Give me just a second.
What are you trying to do to find the trend here?
No, I was just going to draw a picture.
Oh, okay.
But I can't seem to find that silly little thing. I know.
Don't they have it in the?
It's usually in accessories or something like that. But
yeah, don't they have it in the options in the software? Like a drawing tool, didn't they?
Do they? I don't think they have that. Drawing tools.
Yeah.
Horizontal.
No, in like a marker in GoToWebinar.
Oh. Hey. I don't know. Do they? Auto hide, control panel, options, file.
I could be wrong.
No, I don't think they do.
When it comes to technology, usually I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't think they do. Anyway, basically what you're looking at, and I'll do it with just a trend line. Okay. The market moves like this. It moves up. And let me change this to a finite line and save that as default. It moves up. Then it moves down some amount. Then what you anticipate is that it's going to move back up a similar amount, and then that it's going to move back down a similar amount. All right. So if our trend is defined by those pieces right there, when the market pulls back to it and it moves down this way, you've defined where it's going. So it's going to pull back to it again, and then you anticipate that you're going to get this much movement out of it. All right? I like to cut off the triangle like this, you see? I anticipate that it's trying to get down to this level right here. At least to that level. All right? To continue the trend, it would have to go through it. But you can take profit right around this level pretty much all the time. Well, that's, when it's actually trending. That's when you would be able to take profit down at this level. Okay? So in those little pieces, I wish I could have done it with Microsoft Paint, but I can't seem to find it on this computer. My old dog.
You did a good job drawing that.
Yeah, thanks. All right, Frank. We're probably going to wrap it up here in just a minute. We've gone over by about 10 minutes. All right. Yes, Howard, this has been recorded, and I need to convert it when it's done. And
yeah, and the pullback to the BBC's the best if they're
yes,
a clean pullback. Yeah, that's right.
that's all true.
However, the pullback to the YBR cannot be as correct, and the reactions off those two levels are important. So if it's a bearish setup like right now against the YBR, then you might consider the short.
Yep, you're coming off a lower low.
Yeah.
All right, you want it to come up here and hit the red area right there, and you expect that it's going to get down below this level right here. Okay, let me read the statement out loud. I get the feeling that we're watching for higher highs and lower lows for both pullbacks to the BBC and the YBR, and the pullbacks to the BBC are best if they're clean. And that's true. And when you say clean, you mean that they don't have any higher highs or lower lows. Like this one right here was clean. This one right here was clean. This one right here was clean. But this one over here had a lower high. Okay? Yep. That's right. I knew what you meant. Or they disqualify the trade. Yes. However, the pullbacks to the YBR can be not as clean. Yeah, because the pullbacks to the YBR, you're looking at something different. When I was thinking of names for this, the original name was, DIFEC, but that was based on stuff that I had used to create it. But the name that I was thinking about before Dwayne coined the Yellow Brick Road was the backstop. Okay, because if it gets through the BBC and it gets down here and it bounces off of this, now this is something that Frank, who had just left to go deal with the storm people, FEMA. There's two ways to deal with this. One is if it's pulling back to a red area or a blue area, you can trade right off the actual line here. If it's not red or blue, then you would want to wait until you get a close in the direction that it's coming from. Like wait for the up close or the down close or whatever the case may be. Or if you don't have a higher high or a lower low, you want to wait for that close. All right. Yes, Andrew, all of them are proprietary. I created them. So yeah, they're all in my head. And it's exclusive to DT Pro. So you gotta sign up with Bert. Okay. We can talk about all that anyway, but you had asked that earlier. So what happens after the trial? Well, before the end of the trial, you'll get an email with an offer, what it takes to become a partner. I can send it to you today if you want. And then you make a decision, and if you become a partner, then I give you a lifetime license to the indicators, and 3 months of mentoring. 3 months in the live trading room, 3 months of the weekly trading zones, 3 months of the weekly partners meetings, 3 months of the access to the members area, 3 months of swing trades. And after the 3 months, if you want to continue with all that stuff, it's $75 a month. There, that is the deal. Almost everybody in here is a partner, so that's no shock to you all. All right. Okay, I'm gonna shut the recording off right here, and then I'll answer a few more questions. But it's 1/4 after, and I just want to make a clean exit to the recording. All right.